She was born Dorothea Gray in San Bernardino County, California on January the 9th, 1929.
She was one of several children. She lost both of her parents quite early on. She spent time in an orphanage. She was kind of passed from pillar to post quite a lot. So she didn't form those stable, secure attachments with her caregivers that many of us do. And I think that went on to shape the person that she became.
Dorothea, lived a very difficult early childhood. She was deprived in substantial ways. She didn't have loving parents. She had to scavenge for food.
By the mid-1960s, Dorothea had been married 3 times and taken on the name of her third husband, Puente. She had already served time in prison for forging checks and had found a new way to earn money.
She starts to get involved in sex work, selling her body to basically put clothes on her back and feed herself. So she is living this quite kind of feral existence. Now, here's an individual for whom violence and abuse was just normal for her. If we look back at her childhood experiences, they're certainly not normal and warm and loving. They are quite brutal and quite cold. So this is the only thing that she knows. It's those basic emotions and those basic instincts.
And then, after becoming a prostitute, she discovered this occupation of being a caregiver, which requires minimal qualifications. And all of a sudden, a world was opened up to her.
In 1981, Puente began renting an apartment at 1426 F Street in downtown Sacramento. She took on the role of caretaker for the other tenants in the Victorian boarding house. Soon after, Puente met 61-year-old Ruth Monroe. Ruth's son, Bill Clausen, remembers his mother fondly.
She was great. I mean, she was my mom. I'm going to say she's great. But she was. She brought up 5 kids after my father passed away, and I thought she did a good job. We met Dorothea through a gentleman that my mom met while she was working, and he kept asking her out, and she finally went out with him, and then they started seeing each other, and he introduced her to Dorothea. During their friendship, Dorothea decided she wanted to open a restaurant, and my mom wasn't working anymore, and my mom had a little bit of money, so she ended up opening the little cafe at the Round Corner Bar.
Ruth ended up marrying Harold, the man who'd introduced her to Puente. But soon he was diagnosed with cancer and living full-time in a hospital. Ruth didn't want to live alone, and Puente had an idea. She could live with her at 1426 F Street. It turned out to be a fatal decision.
We moved her in there on Easter Sunday, 1982, and she died April 26th, 2 weeks later. I saw my mom every day from the time I moved her in there. I stopped by there on my way home from work. And the last 3 days of her life, she seemed like she was getting sick. And when I went there, I'd noticed that she had a drink in her hand, and my mom didn't drink. So I asked her, I said, "What's that?" And she said, it was a drink that Dorothea fixed to calm her nerves. I said, fine, I didn't think anything of it because I knew they were friends, and okay, fine.
But Ruth deteriorated so badly over the next few days that the next time Bill went to visit her, she was almost catatonic.
Mom was laying there. I sat next to her and touched her and told her, I said, "Dorothea's taking care of you, you'll be fine." And she had a tear coming out of her eye, and that was it. She didn't say anything. She just laid there. The next morning, I got a call from my brother telling me that mom was dead. Went over there. She had already been taken away by the coroner's wagon, and Dorothea had said that she committed suicide.